Hi guys, Samantha from Just My Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you how to create a texture stamp. Now, today's texture stamp I have decided is going to revolve around ball tools. So you're going to start with fairly small tools. So let me just bring over that. So you're going to start with a pretty small one, about this size, and you're going to go all the way up to something around this size. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the small ones in the middle, and we're going to press in fairly deep, and we're going to go in a circle like that. Okay, then you'll switch to the next one, and it doesn't matter if these distort slightly. That's fine. Then you'll go around with the larger one. Let me just fix that there. Okay. Then once you've gone around with the larger one, you'll pick the next size up. So let me just go find it. Here we go. And then you'll go around with that size, and you'll continue going out and creating a larger circle each time. And it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, you just want to go from small to large outward. And this will create quite an interesting texture stamp. Just make sure you go fairly deep. There we go. And now continue going. Okay, so there we are. Now I've marked out here where I want to actually cut my texture using one of these square cutters. So I'm just going to bring over some 40 grit sandpaper. I'm going to texture this top surface. And you want a fairly a low grit of sandpaper so that it creates a really nice stony texture over the top of this. And this sort of stamp will be great for things like Makume Garne. It would also work for mica shifts, but I don't think it has enough detail to really make a nice mica shift. Okay, now I'll just bring over my cutter and press down. There we go. We will lift that out the way, and that is what the texture stamp looks like. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to have to lift this up, and I might have to put a backing on this because I went fairly deep. So I'm just going to have a look on the back. I should probably put a backing on it because these ones over here I actually saw. I kind of went through. So I'm just going to turn that upside down, and you'll just run this through the thinnest setting again. Okay. I'll just gently smooth that onto the back. Then I'll just use the sandpaper to press from this side because I don't want to flatten out this texture, but I do want to pat down. So I'll just use the sandpaper to make sure that we have a good bond. Okay. Then I'll just bring over my cutter again. And press down. And so making your own texture stamps is fairly easy. It is a little bit time consuming, but it's definitely worth it. If you didn't want to make your own texture stamps, I do always supply these on my Etsy shop, Jessima Design, if you want to go and check it out. I have a bunch of different texture stamps on there. and so that will save you some time if you don't feel like making your own. So I'm just going to go here, fix up these little areas where it lifted up a little bit. There we are. Okay, now I just need to lift this up. Don't always use the tissue blade for that so that I don't stretch my pattern. Just smooth off the edges, and then that is going to go into bake for a full hour at Cato's recommended temperature, because this is a mix of Cato and Primo, and if it slightly burns, if it scorches so that it goes more brown but doesn't start to bubble, that's fine, because it will actually make the texture stronger, because we want this to be quite strong since we're going to be using it. Okay, and then I'll show you what it looks like with muku megane. So while this is in the oven, we can prepare our muku megane stack. Okay, so here are my colours. So I've got Primo Pearl, Primo Black, Primo Silver, Primo Bright Green, and these are the ones that I'm going to be using. Okay, so I'm just going to pop these on top of each other. In a stack, and these will all run through on the thickest setting, and I used a small square cutter to cut them out. Okay, now just tap down on these sides. Just got a little cat hair there. Gets into everything. Okay, now I'm just going to start reducing it. So I'm just going to squeeze the sides and pull, and I'll also use my roller to roll this out. Okay. And then I'll just pinch these sides and continue to reduce it until I can run this through my thickest setting on my pasta machine. Okay, so we're about there. And I'm just making it longer. I'm not trying to make it into a larger square. I'm trying to make it into a rectangular shape, so that we can cut out multiple pieces and stack them. Okay, run that through my thickest setting. Again, make it longer. Here we are. And just trim up these ends. Okay, and I'll cut in half and stack. Okay, and I'm just busy watching my stripes there. I'll run it through again. And this time, make it longer again. I'll just trim up these edges and keep all these little bits. You can always use these in different leftover effects. Okay, and then I'm going to cut it in half again and stack. Okay, and I'm just going to check my stripes. I think I'm going to run it through one last time. And now I'm going to trim up this edge and this edge, and I'll stack again. Okay. I'm just going to trim these edges with these cracked bits, so we have a nice stack to work with. Okay, so here are what my stripes look like. Okay, so now all that's left to do is to wait for that texture stamp to finish baking, and then I can show you how to use the texture stamp. Okay, so our piece is out of the oven, and I've given it a light dust of cornstarch. And so I'm going to bring this over, and I think I'm going to put black side down into the texture. Okay, and then I'm just going to start pressing from one side to the other. So I really want to get nice and into that texture. Okay, then I'll just use my roller to roll across the surface. Okay. Then I carefully want to lift this out. And so when you're using these stamps, you have to kind of gently peel it up from all sides. And then let it release slowly. Because it's a little bit more grabby than the other texture stamps. But once it starts to go, it's easier. There we go. So you can see it's got a nice texture. Almost reminds me of an urchin actually. Now I'm gently going to press that onto my tile, and then we can shave it. And I'm using my flexible tissue blade for this. I'm just going to be very careful. I'm just going slowly. I can carry on. I can remove more material after I have removed these large lumps. Okay, and I'm just trying to remove them from the texture, from the sheet after I've shaved them, because I don't want them sticking. That's starting to look quite nice. I'll shave off all these little ones. Okay, get rid of that, then continue. There we go, it's for the most part finished. Let me just remove all of these bits and pieces that are kind of lying around that I don't want to be sticking. And then I'll continue to shave. And so this might actually make quite a nice mic shift, especially in this middle area over here. I'm not sure. I might actually make a mic shift for you quickly to show you what it would look like, because I'm curious to see whether it would look nice or not. Just want to basically flatten this out and shave off all of these raised areas first. Okay, so I've done the mic shift. I just need to flatten it out quickly. And here's our mukumegane now that it's finished. So let me just quickly flatten out this mic shift so I can show you what it's gonna look like. And the nice thing about that sand texture that we put on top is that if you put in deep enough, the mica clays will pick it up slightly. So if I roll this flat, you should still be able to see that texture just slightly in the background. Okay, that area is flat. So that is what the mic shift looks like, and it actually looks quite nice. So let me just trim back this area because I'm not quite happy with that. There we go. But there we are, that's what a mic shift looks like with that stamp. Quite nice, I think, actually. There we go, I'll show you it now. So you can see that mic shift's quite nice. So I'll pop that off to the side, and we'll flatten out this mukumegane too. And also, if your layers in your bikume are thin enough, you'll be able to see that sand texture as well. So there is pearl white under this black, and so it means that some areas are thinner than others, so that sandpaper will add a bit of texture. It won't be just one plain colour. Be very slight, but it will add a tad of texture. Okay, that's flat. So you can see over here that we have a little bit of texture from that sandpaper. So I can quickly pick that up. I can show you what that looks like too. So I'm quite happy with how that came out, and so I do hope that it gave you some ideas on what texture stamps you would like to make, and maybe you can make the same one, because it's quite a nice texture stamp. So if you do, please do send me photos. I'd love to see how it came out, and I'd also love to see what you make with it. I've just made these two for the moment because I just wanted to show you what the texture stamp looks like, but it'll be great for future projects. So I do hope that that tutorial was helpful to you, and if it was, please do let me know, as that is always helpful to me. And please do send in photos of what you make using this texture stamp that I showed you, if you do make a texture stamp, and show me photos of some of your texture stamps that you might have made that are completely different from this one. I always love to see those as well. And as always, I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.